Here at Helmuth Ford, we are a small town dealership with no hassle and no pressure.
The Watch Your Opera House in Watch Your, Iowa presents The Boys in concert Saturday, February 22nd from 7 to 9 p.m. The Boys are a dynamic band fronted by twin brothers Lee and Adam Klett. They bring a traditional feel back to modern country music. Their catchy original music will have you dancing and singing along. Admission is a free will donation. For more information, go to watchyouroperahouse.org. It's The Boys this Saturday at the Watch Your Opera House.
Life's better when you're under our roof. Because when you feel totally protected, your family's free to enjoy their dreams.
Try it again. You're getting the hang of this. Good job.
American Family Insurance.
Contact Christy Tarr in Oskaloosa at 641-673-8965. Schedule your next dental appointment with Dr. Dan Schuster at Oski Dental, 641-673-4845. They're accepting new patients. Oski Dental will file all of your insurance forms for you. They're a Delta dental provider. And Oski Dental is located at 902 South 17th Street in Oskaloosa. That's Oski Dental, 641-673-4845. We make smiles happen at Oski Dental.
Keokuk County Medical Clinic is your one-stop shop for healthcare. Our behavioral health providers offer a wide range of services to help you reach your goals. We have multiple family practice providers who see patients of all ages for acute and chronic care. Through a partnership with Bloom Pediatrics of Ottumwa, McKenna Bond, ARNP is here on Wednesday and Friday mornings to give your child the special care they need. Libby Dasso, PAC, is here for all your rheumatology needs. Jack's Corner Drug is located just down the hall for your convenience.
Death Dealer, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Bryce Jordan, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Hey, this is Jared Thumb, and you are watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Wrestling fans, if you want the best wrestling news, you want to watch Shotgun Wrestling Radio. This is James Jeffries, and tell them that I sent you there. Yeah!
What's up, everybody? It's Leon King here, of course, the baddest of the baddest, and you are now listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
I am Eric S. Knight.
And I'm Malik Champion.
And we are the chosen prodigal sons, and this is the Shotgun Wrestling Radio podcast.
This is your Deathmatch Daddy Bo guy, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Hey, everybody, this is Brock Anderson, and you are watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Augustus Draven, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is the Feline Phenom, JT Energy, and you're experiencing Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takis, and before we get into our interview here this week, I want to start doing something a little bit different here on the show. Something we used to do a long time ago when Zach, Greg, and I used to host the show. We used to have a segment called the Independent Calendar. So we're going to go ahead, bring that segment back. We're going to go ahead and run down the next couple of the shows that are going around in Iowa the next couple of weeks, starting with this Saturday, February the 15th. Central Empire Wrestling will be back in action at the Penn Central Mall in Oskaloosa, Iowa. Bell time is at 7 p.m. For more information, head over to Central Empire Wrestling on Facebook. Ticket links and all the descriptions there. You'll be able to get your tickets for this Saturday show. Also, Saturday, February the 15th, Eminent Wrestling Alliance is going to be back in action at the Grinnell Eagles Club in Grinnell, Iowa. Bell time is at 6 p.m. Then, coming up Thursday, February 20th, at the Engelhurt Theater in Iowa City at 6:30 p.m. SCW Pro is going to be having a free show. And then Saturday, February 22nd, making their debut show, Social Experiment Wrestling. That's right, Social Experiment Wrestling, coming to Grumpy's Bar and Event Center in Redland, Iowa. 6 p.m. showtime. Very, very stacked show they got coming up for their show. Hopefully we'll be able to get somebody from that promotion on here in the next week or so to talk about that debut show. And then Saturday, February 22nd as well, Eminent Wrestling Alliance makes their debut in Waterloo, Iowa at the Majestic Moon at 6 p.m. bell time. That's going to do it for us here on this edition of the Independent Calendar. If you would like to be featured on the Independent Calendar, make sure your Facebook events are updated, because that's where I gather up all the information of what's running. So make sure your event section on your Facebook page is up to date, or you can send us a message on our Facebook page as well. And until next time, let's get to our interview. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that new edition of the show that we are doing with the Independent Wrestling Calendar. A lot of great shows coming up in the state of Iowa here over the next couple of weeks. And at this time, I'm going to welcome in my guest this week. He is one half of the CEW Tag Team Champions. He is a CEW Hall of Famer. And of course, I'm talking about the one and the only, the legendary Mr. Donnie Pepper Cricket. Donnie, what's going on, bud? How you doing, my friend?
Not too bad. How about yourself, Zach?
I'm doing good, man. For us, it's show week. It's the first Central Empire Wrestling show of 2025. Penn Central Mall Madness 2. It's going to be an exciting year for Central Empire, man. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Austin always has a couple of surprises up his sleeve, so it should be a good time.
Yeah, and we got some new people coming in this year, which, anytime you get new blood in, it's always exciting to mix it in with some of the originals like you and the Iceman, who have been there for what seems like forever, and just to get kind of some new blood in there for you guys too. That's got to be pretty exciting. And, I got to thinking the other day, I was like, God, I don't really think I've had Donnie. I don't think I've had you on the show in, like, I guess a traditional setting. I think we did something very briefly, like before one of the shows way back when. I want to say it was when we were... it was near Cedar Rapids. I can't remember what show it was though.
Honestly, I think it was like just a little sound bit for
yeah, it wasn't like a traditional pod, so I was like, okay, it'll be fun to get you on here and kind of learn more about you and kind of your background here. So again, I got to start with the simple question: how did you become a wrestling fan, and when you really wanted to start getting into this, where did you decide to go get your training done at?
So when I really decided I wanted to be a part of pro wrestling, I actually looked at potentially heading out east to the House of Hardcore, the ECW training school originally. But looking at the financials, obviously I wasn't 100% able to commit right away. So with that being said, I ended up, ironically enough, finding a school here in Omaha, the Omaha Wrestling Association, or the OWA, and started out there.
And what were some of your early memories from your first time training? Obviously, you see it on TV, you finally step into the ring. What were some of your memories from your early days of training?
Oh, they sucked. The ring that we trained in was actually a kickboxing ring, because the OWA teamed up with a Muay Thai gym here in town. And so the original ring that we were trained in was a Muay Thai ring. So while wrestling rings have about that much give, this ring had like that much give. So yeah, it was fun. It was interesting.
Do you remember how many people started out in your class with you, and how many of them actually made it all the way through?
Everybody that started out went on to do shows. There were probably, I want to say 8 to 12 for sure.
That's a pretty good number. That's a pretty good number. I mean, a lot of times you talk to people, you ask them how many people they started out with. You always have a few that tend to kind of drop out. And I know you've kind of done some training here over the last several years, so you've probably seen that guys get in there thinking they can do this and realizing, hey, this shit ain't no picnic, man.
Right. Unfortunately, wrestling isn't for everybody. Like, okay, hold on before I start getting attacked. Wrestling is for everyone. Being a wrestler is not, because you got to be a certain kind of sick and twisted individual to enjoy inflicting pain upon yourself. A bit of a sadist, if you will. But at the same time, like, you have to be believable in what you're doing. You have to have something to offer in forms of like character, in forms of something that people can, that's tangible to them. Because if you can't resonate with the fans, then you really don't have much of a character to go off of. Even if you're being yourself, you still got to have a way to connect to people, whether it's good or bad.
What were some of your memories from your very first match? Obviously, you get done with all the training. What were some of your memories of your first matchup? And do you remember who it was with?
So my first match was shortly after reffing. I was reffing and wrestling at the same time, and I wrestled under a hood. Mikey Chaos, or Joey Grunge, as he later became known. Jaden Durango was one of my trainers under a mask, doing another gimmick. Deacon Kane, I believe, was in there, and I want to say Kid USA. It was a multi-man hardcore match that I ended up getting tossed into last minute because of the fact that in typical indie wrestling fashion, the promoter plastered himself all over the flyer and ended up getting picked up after the opening promo because he had back child support that he was owed.
Well, that's a story.
Oh yeah. Like I'm behind on my child support, so I'm gonna lay low. But featuring this Saturday here in town, right at 7, be there. And they were.
And that was kind of back in the day when a lot of people really took to heart, posterizing. I know Austin still firmly believes in posterizing, and that's one thing I really love about him. He's still kind of very old school in that sense that he loves to go and posterize, even if it's just for our monthly shows that we have in Oskaloosa, which I don't feel like you see a whole lot of people do anymore. You don't see them posterizing for their monthly shows.
Not normally, honestly. Like the companies that I normally see doing that a lot of the lucha companies, like okay. for some reason they're still feet to pavement. But Austin has that very old school mentality about him, to where he's like, no, I'm gonna fly out of the town. Half the time when I'm on my way there, I'll stop in gas stations and I'll see my face staring back at me because Austin's been to that town and flyered the gas station. If not him, one of you guys who helped him with that venture.
Right. Well, that's one thing too. It's like he loves to do the groundwork, and that's why I kind of a couple of years ago, before Bridge City Slam really got heated up, I offered to kind of take over the social media for him because I was like, you got the following. Let me help you kind of do more of the posting because I'm kind of a social media nerd. I can, and he let me start taking over that for Central Empire, and let's kind of get back more into your early time as a wrestling fan. When you started watching it as a kid, who were some of the guys that you really gravitated towards that really inspired you?
So as a kid, the people that inspired me, obviously, the Hulk Hogan's, Ultimate Warrior, Sting, Ric Flair, all those individuals, Legion of Doom, Demolition, which obviously was super cool getting to meet them at the last Bridge City Slam. So like as a kid, those were the ones that were kind of like, hey, I want to do this.
Now I gotta ask you too, because I think it was, if I remember right, not this past Bridge City Slam, but the one before where we had the Powers of Pain, and you guys actually got in the ring, or was the year before the one with Bob Orton?
The year before, so this last one that just passed is where myself and Iceman wrestled the Powers of Pain.
That's right. Yep. Okay.
The year prior, I got to actually team up with Bushwhacker.
Oh, that's right. Yep. That was a fun night, wasn't it? I mean, Bushwhacker, for as old as he was, I mean, he still knew how to have fun and how to pop that crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you ever think, like as a kid, like you being in the ring, did you have a moment where you're just like, I'm in the ring with the Powers of Pain? You know, dudes you grew up watching, dudes who had been in WrestleManias. Like, did you have that kind of moment when you were out there with them?
Yes and no. Yeah, I say, and I'm not trying to sound cocky when I say that, because yes, I did, but it was actually the first time I got to work with them in six-man tag action, when it was me, Tim Rhodes, and Tatanka against Powers of Pain and JT Energy. So I was super nervous on that one. But apparently I did well enough to impress Barbarian, because he told Bayless that he's old school. He's a good kid.